For row 12, we are going to chain 4. It's going to be 3 cream boxes, 3 green boxes, 2 yellow boxes, 1 black box, 2 green boxes, and 1 cream box. I am going to need this black when I work the next row over here. So what I'm going to do, because this is in the middle of the belt buckle, I'm going to carry it up when I join. I'm going to carry it up when I join right here in my next stitch so that it's in a better place for when I need it. So I worked one gold yellow box, and I still need one more. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hold this because I'm working my next yarn, but I'm going to move this black working yarn up so that when I join in my next stitch, it's gonna be stuck where I slip stitch. I'm carrying it up. So my working yarn is right here. I mean, not my working yarn. This is the yarn tail that I just carried up. And then this is the stitch. I know it's black and it's hard to see, but that's the stitch that I'm slip stitching to. That's what I'm carrying up. And when I yarn over and pull through, I'm going to pull through all of these as if it's 3 different loops. I'm going to pull through all of those. So I just pulled through the 2 loops, the loop that I'm carrying, and then the loop that's on my hook. And you can't see it from the right side, but now we're in a better position so that I can grab it later. Now I'm going to work my second gold box. The next box is going to be black, and I know I said back here that I needed it in the next row, but I actually need it in the same row right here. So I'm going to carry this yarn tail over when I slip stitch, and when I do that, you're going to see it from the wrong side. It's going to look just like that. It's going to stick out. But you're only going to see it from the wrong side of the washcloth. You're not going to see it at all from the right side of the washcloth. If it bothers you that you'll have that float carried up, you can fasten this off and weave it in and reattach your yarn here. You're going to need the black yarn a few more times to complete the belt that's over here. but I don't want to weave in another end, so I'm just going to carry it right there. And the reason why I don't work over the tail end here like I did before was because when you pull it up here, you actually do see it from the right side. So in order to hide it from the right side, it has to be visible from the wrong side. So I just finished this gold box and I no longer need this. I'm going to go ahead and grab my black and I'm going to insert into the next, let me see how I'm going to do this. I'm going to insert into the next stitch differently than I normally would. Normally I go with the yarn inside so it's under my hook, but I'm going to show you what it looks like, and this is the same reason why we don't carry it, is that whenever I do this, you see this black carry right here on the right side. We don't want that. We don't want it to show from the right side at all. So I'm going to do this one a little bit differently than I normally do. And if this is too confusing or you really just don't, you're not for it, just fasten it off, weave it in, and reattach your yarn here. No problem. So I'm going to insert my hook, and then I'm going to pull the yarn through the stitch and then through the loop that's on my hook. And that seems really weird because it's gonna feel awkward, but now you only see a little bit of it from the right side, and you're about to cover that up when you work this next box. You're not gonna see that at all, but from the wrong side you will see this float, so it won't be reversible. I'm gonna go ahead and work my next box, which is just one black. And now I'm going to switch back to green and finish 2 green boxes and 1 cream box. And you can see my yarn is all jumbled up and tangled again. This is what it normally looks like at this point, and you can just gently pull and tug and try to untangle it the best that you can without stopping to fully untangle it, or you can stop and fully untangle it. I just like to go with the flow and pull and tug as much as I can so that I don't have to stop. And if you want to avoid that, you want to have 2 skeins of every color that you're going to be using. The yellow you won't need 2, but all the other ones you will need 2. And I want to point out that it's not going to stop it from tangling. It's just going to be easier to untangle it as you move the yarns around after you turn your rows. Row 13, we're going to start with a chain 4. It's going to be 1 cream box, 2 green boxes, 2 black boxes, 1 gold box, 4 green boxes, and 3 cream boxes. Now we've finished here. We finished the buckle. So you no longer need that yellow yarn. You can go ahead and fasten it off and pull it out so you're not tangling that up with the rest of your yarn. See, this is what happens sometimes when you don't fold your yarn over. It gets caught on your crochet hook and it pulls these strands out. That's why I usually tuck it in when I'm working, and I didn't. You are going to cover that up. You're not even going to notice it. Right now, our washcloth is the height. Can't really see it all in this screen, but from the bottom to where we just finished is as tall and as wide, because it's a square, as we want our washcloth to be. So we're going to begin decreasing now for row 14, and all the rest of the rows will be decreasing rows. So now we just started in this one box originally, and we increased as much as we want. Now we are going to start decreasing until we get to one box on the other side. Row 14 is going to be 2 cream boxes, 6 green boxes, 1 black box, 1 cream box, 1 green box, 1 cream box. But we're not going to start row 14 or any of the other rows with a chain 4 anymore. Chain 4 is for increasing. So decreasing, we are going to chain 1 and turn. And we are going to slip stitch across here. I'm going to skip the first stitch. That's what the chain 1 is going to take the place of. I'm not slip stitching in chain 1 in the first stitch. I am slip stitching in the second stitch and in the third stitch. And this is how we get it so that our edge is straight across. Now we're in the position to start our first box, and we're going to start it with a chain 1 and work the box as we normally would. Three half double crochets in there, and I'm slip stitching to the next stitch just as normal, and there you can see your edge. It's going to go straight across, all the way across. So first off, I just finished the last black box that I have. So you can go ahead and fasten that yarn off. I am going to need a cream box for my next box. I have one skein of cream. I have one tail end here and one tail end here. So I am going to need to fasten off, and I'm going to do it on this side since I'm still going to need this other working tail. I'm just going to fasten off here, and I'm going to reattach it here so that I can work my cream box. Then I will carry it the same way as I did in the belt buckle for my next green box, so I can pick it up again for my last cream box. And the reason why I'm fastening it off and not trying to carry it through here is because it really limits the stretch of your washcloth, and sometimes it makes it pucker, sometimes it's not gonna stretch the way that you need it to when you're using it. This also gives me a great chance to kind of untangle a little bit of yarn here. So there's my first cream box. My next box is going to be green. So I'm going to drop that cream box. I'm going to pick up the green. I'm going to re-pick up that cream because I want to carry that over. So I have my green yarn that I'm switching to, and I'm going to pull it over the same way I normally do so that it's underneath my hook. But I also want to capture this cream yarn. So I'm going to put the cream yarn on my hook as if it's a loop. I'm going to move the green yarn over so it's under my hook when I join, and I'm going to join to the next stitch. I have 3 loops. That's the stitch I just joined to, the yarn I'm carrying up, and the current loop on my hook, and I am going to pull that green through all of those. So now you can't see the cream from the right side, and really you can't see it from the wrong side either, but now it's captured here so it's at a better spot for me to grab it when I need it for my last box. So I'm going to hold that down because I'm not going to work over that. I'm going to create my green box, and now I'm going to do it the same way I did it before when I carried this black yarn up. I'm going to carry this green yarn up, and I'm going to join it in that awkward way again. If again you don't want to carry your yarn, you don't want it to be visible like that from the wrong side because you want your washcloth to be reversible maybe, you're going to want to fasten off your yarn again and rejoin it. But I'm not doing that because I don't want to weave in that extra end. So I dropped my green, I have my cream over here. I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch, and I'm going to pull that cream yarn through off the side, and it's going to feel really weird because it's not normal, but it's going to give you that look so that you cannot see it from the right side, but you can see it from the wrong side. And now I complete my last box. And this in itself is going to slightly limit the stretch of the washcloth in this area. That's why we don't carry over too many boxes, because then it's really going to limit the stretch, and I've made that mistake before. But one box is not going to alter the look in any way. It's not really going to make a difference. For round 15, it's going to be 3 cream boxes, 7 green boxes, 1 cream box. And we're going to start it the same exact way as we did for round 14, because we're no longer increasing this. So no chain 4. We're going to instead chain 1, turn, slip stitch into the second, I feel like I worked an extra stitch here. Let's go back and see. I have 1, 2, 3, which I think I might have slipped one in. Slip stitch that back. Now I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to turn. I am going to skip the first half double crochet. I'm going to slip stitch into the second, and I'm going to slip stitch into the third. And now I'm going to begin my first box by chaining 1. And when I slip stitch, I have 1 box complete. Here we can see that the brim of the hat is complete. That was the last box for the brim of the hat. So I'm going to go ahead and fasten that green yarn off because I no longer need it. I will just use the other green yarn that finished here. That's the one I'm going to... That's the one I want to pick up next. I'm going to go ahead and try to pull this green away. So I have 1 box here, and I'm going to complete 2 more cream boxes. I have 3 cream boxes, and when I join here, I'm going to be in the perfect spot to pick up that green yarn from the other part of the hat. I hesitated a little bit when I was talking about it down here because I was having trouble seeing it. I thought I was going to have to pull it over, but actually no, it's in the perfect spot for you to pick it up right now and continue with your 7 green boxes. And now our little hat is really coming together here. We have the brim, the belt, the buckle, and now we're just finishing this top hat off. For row 16, it's going to be 1 cream box, 6 green boxes, and 3 cream boxes. And we're going to begin this row the same exact way, chain 1, slip stitch into the second stitch, slip stitch into the third stitch. Round 17, not round, sorry, row 17, we are going to chain 1 and turn, slip stitch into the second and into the third, chain 1, we are going to work 3 cream boxes, 5 green boxes, and 1 cream box.
We are going to chain 1 and turn, slip stitch over, and work 1, oh goodness, we're going to work 1 cream box, 4 green boxes, and 3 cream boxes.
Chain 1 and turn, slip stitch over, Row 19 is going to be 3 cream boxes, 3 green boxes, 1 cream box. I'm going to show you that this is now the only tangled part that I have left. Look at that. That makes me happy that I have reached that point. Less stress. Row 20 is going to be 1 cream box, 2 green boxes, and 3 cream boxes. After all that untangling, we have one more row to work to complete this last green box, and then we're just going to decrease in the cream color. So for row 21, we're going to chain 1 and turn, and it is going to be 3 cream boxes, 1 green box, and 1 cream box. And now the top hat is complete. So we can go ahead and fasten off that green yarn. We no longer need that. We can also fasten off this cream yarn because we have one that we're working with on our hook right now. So this other one we won't need anymore. We can fasten that off. And now it's very simple to finish off. We are just going to do the remaining rows 22 to 25 by chaining one, slip stitching over, and working across. You're going to have one less box in each row until you get to one box left. And now we have our square finished. We started at one box, we built it all the way up, and now we ended at one box. If you don't want to do a border, or you think that you kind of like the way that the edges looked unfinished, you can go ahead and fasten off now and then weave in all your ends. But I'm gonna go ahead and add a border because I think it gives it a polished look. You can also add a strap here if you want to hang it from a hook in your kitchen. I normally don't. I normally just work all the way around. But I did see lately that some people were adding loops right here, and it was really cute plus functional. Let me go ahead and show you how to do this border. If you want a different color, you can switch your yarn here and do, let's say, green all the way around or the yellow all the way around. I'm going to keep it with the cream color so I don't have to weave in another end. But it looks really cute in a coordinating color like this green would be really good. To do the border, we are going to chain one. Let me zoom in a little bit here. I just chained one, and right here you see there's a space between the boxes, and right here there's another space between the boxes, and right here is another space in between the boxes. That's where we're going to be working our stitches. And to do this border, we are going to be chaining only one in between those boxes. If you crochet really tightly, you're going to want to change this hook at least up one size, maybe up two sizes, so that the border lays flat and doesn't pucker. But I'm going to just do it really loosely. So I just did my chain one. I'm going to single crochet into that first space, which is a little bit behind where you just worked, so it might be a little awkward. I'm going to insert my hook into that space, yarn over, pull through. I have 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through both of those. That's a single crochet. That's our first one. Then I'm going to loosely chain 1, and I'm going to single crochet into that next space in between the boxes. Insert my hook, yarn over, pull through. I have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. And there's a little bit of space right here, which is going to be the decorative element, but it's going to keep the straight edge. I'm going to loosely chain 1, and I'm going to single crochet into the next space in between the boxes. And I want to point out that this is where, if you were crocheting tightly, it would kind of come in and the fabric here would ruffle because it's a little bit puckered. So if you start to notice that at all, just take it out, switch the crochet hook up at least 1 size, and try it again. And I'm going to continue this pattern of chain 1, single crochet in the next space between boxes until I get to the corner. And here I've crocheted into the last space before the corner. I am going to chain 1 loosely the same way, and I'm going to find my corner stitch, the very corner of this box that's right here. And I'm going to insert my hook in there, and I'm going to complete a single crochet. And it's just going to be right there in the very corner. And then I'm going to loosely chain, turn the work a little bit, and single crochet into the next space between those very boxes. That very first box and the next box. There's a space, there's my next single crochet. And in here you might find that it rolls up. That's going to happen if you do it too tightly. So try to do it as loose as you can, and then you just use your fingers to press it out, and it's going to lay flat right there. And it's going to be really cute, a really cute rounded edge. And you're going to continue in this process the whole way around. Loosely chain 1, single crochet into the space in between the next 2 boxes, and in the next corner you will single crochet here, loosely chain, single crochet in the corner, loosely chain, and continue all the way until you get around. Now I have just worked into the last space before the very last box. This is the very first single crochet that we worked. This box, you're going to work it a little bit differently to get it even. So Normally we would work it right into this stitch right here, but to get it flat and even, I'm going to actually work it into the second half double crochet right here, and you're going to see it in just a moment. It just makes it so much flatter and even right here in this very last corner for some reason. So that's how I always do that one. Then we loosely single crochet and we slip stitch into the very first single crochet that we worked of the round. And then we fasten off and we weave in our ends. And if you wanted to add another round for your border, you could change colors now and work around, or you could stay in the same cream color and work around. And in this case, you would do one single crochet or half double crochet, whatever stitch you want to do as the second row. You would do one stitch into that single crochet, one stitch into that chain one space, one stitch into that single crochet, and you would increase in your corners by doing, let's say, one stitch, chain two, one stitch, all into that corner stitch. That's if you wanted to add a second row, maybe you want to do a different color. But I'm happy with mine just the way that it is. And so I'm just going to fasten off here. Pull that to break it, and then I'll just insert my hook through that very first stitch that I joined, and I will bring that yarn to the back so it's on the wrong side with all the rest of the tail ends that I have to weave in. And then your cute little leprechaun hat washcloth is ready to be used as soon as you weave in all of those ends. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel. It is brand new and I would love to have you join in. Let me know what kind of videos you would like to see. Visit my blog, iloveknots.com, where I share free crochet patterns, crochet pattern reviews, giveaways, and all kinds of yarn related goodies. Thank you.